But I have to kick things off with the season finale of Batchack Man, right? So let's waste no time. So, Batchack Man Peacemakers finally wrapped up today, the time is recording here, right? And what I will say is that it pretty much wraps up its story for what it is, but it still leaves a few I should say a few narrative threads open for subsequent seasons, or in the case of the Vil Ventures universe, other TV shows and whatnot, where they could actually kind of explore certain characters and whatnot, right? Pretty much the story follows, Batchack Man himself and his journey, right? And basically, it just involves this diamond that's in this pendant, and him pretty much understanding that it possesses his power. So basically, what it is that once he is able to tap into that power fully, he could pretty much be like a powerful being, right? In terms of like using these supernatural powers and whatnot, right? But unfortunately, during his last scuffle with 19, right? That's this assassin who is pretty much part of the Peacemakers group, right? He ends up losing that pendant, right? And we see who ends up acquiring it. Surprise, surprise, it's the OH, right? It's, we actually thought that this guy was dead. Well, actually, he is dead, but now he's back for reasons, and now he has that, right? But thankfully, for our hero, he learns a lot about himself and his powers. And really what this episode is about is just kind of him kind of understanding his, that he serves a much bigger role in this upcoming war. Because basically what the leader of the Peacemakers is trying to tell him is that there is this upcoming war. It's between, these supernatural forces, and we do see both of them, right? Because in the last episode, we saw that it was, or I should say last couple episodes, we saw the character of Mama Glow, right? So if you remember, we dealing with local folklore here, right? But in the world of Batchack Man, it's not like they're these supernatural beings. Like it's not like the way how we learn about them through like primary school and children's books and whatnot, right? They're like real life figures and whatnot, right? So they dress kind of stylized in a sense. Usually they're always rocking some kind of leather jacket or some kind of coat or whatever it is, right? So they look normal, but yes, they are supernatural beings, right? And the other half now of this evil duo just so happens to be Papa Boa, and we actually see who the person is. I know the actor actually. I was like, what? You playing this? Okay. But yeah, so he is like the big threat that that the leader of the Peacemakers basically trying to prepare herself and her daughter 19 for, right? And yeah, pretty much it's just Batchack Man kind of learning, okay, this is really what's going on. This is my role now. I have certain powers now. I have acquired them throughout my journey here, throughout the season here. And Michelle, who is played once again by Angelia Bissoon, sorry. Yeah, she actually has powers of her own, and that's through this serum that she more or less kind of synthesized now. And this is pretty much a synthesized version of the serum that the Peacemakers leader was giving her daughters, right, the assassins, basically to become like these super soldiers, pretty much, right? And I'll stop here at this point, right? So what I will say about this, right? I have to talk about the series as a whole, right? If you told me, right, that from the last time I saw the first couple Batchack Man films, right, and this is not about the Peacemakers series itself. I'm talking about like the beginnings, right, like the Herbalist and all that stuff before that, right, and then show me this here, I'd have been like, what? Like just the progression in quality, you know what I mean, from those films to now is just nothing short of amazing to me, man. And just where the story stops, because it's clear that it's gonna lead to like another season, or I should say a spin-off, as we'll see in the post-credit scene. That's all I'll say without spoiling anything. Yeah, it's just how this story and this world and these characters were fleshed out now, you know what I mean? Now, keep in mind, right, there are still narrative and technical flaws here or there. Like I do find, like I talk about the series as a whole, right? The season, yeah, there's a little issue with pacing here or there, right? Like there's a lot going on. You can really tell, But because of this 7 episode run, it could feel a little long, a little too long at points, right? But like just kind of like doing like this quick recap of the whole season before going into the finale, I was like really impressed at how Keon, who by the way not just acts in this, but also wrote and directs, this series here. How he was just able to just take the story and just kind of flesh out the characters way more than like I was just really impressed at this the effort put into fleshing out the characters and the story as well too, right? Um Also, and I saying the same thing here with this episode here. There's some like surreal moments here or there. Like that's something that caught me by surprise actually, right? Because I know like in the original films there was a bit of surrealism here or there, but here, he just went all out, but you know what I mean. And it's just really in terms of, all right, there's this mystical world out there, and this is where all these supernatural creatures and folklore characters come from. But he kind of expands it to different parts of the world and whatnot, right? So in terms of Batchack Man's journey, I mean, he wants to be power. Well, he's not really sure whether he wants to be this powerful being or not, right? But just him kind of being aware of, there's all these other realms out there that I could travel to. Slight spoiler. Yeah, you know what I mean? It just kind of opens the gates in terms of what the world of this story is, you know what I mean? But yeah, in terms of where the finale stops off though, yeah, it was really, really good though, I must say. It's not like overly heavy on action, right? But I would say it just kind of wraps certain things up. There are certain, elements that are left out there in the open, like case in point. I was expecting the OH to come back, but I was like, but it's like it doesn't really happen. So I suspect that in the spin-off show, I just throwing ideas out there. I suspect that maybe he will show up there. If not, maybe he might be in another season of this. And where this season pretty much stops off is like, yeah, we have to have another season here because yeah, we now have to go up against against Papa Boa and Mama Glow, right? But really, what impressed me here is just the comparison, the contrast basically between Batchack Man's journey and the Peacemakers leader, right? Diana, that's her name, right? Because at first, we all just kind of thinking that Diana is just this hardened individual, she's just pumping serum into these young girls and pretty much teaching them to be killers, and she doesn't care about them. But in her case, it's really about the greater good, right? Even though to be fair, the whole idea of taking the serum and more or less putting it in water, you know what I mean, and distributing it through there is kind of sketchy. Actually, not kind of sketchy. It is sketchy, right? But is the whole ends justify the means kind of aspect about it that I do like, right? And yeah, where her arc ends, I really was impressed by as well. Also, I have to give shout out to Angelina as well too, man. Just her kind of just continuing this really impressive performance that she put down from since episode 6, Mi Familia. They actually explored that a little bit more too in terms of like what happened to her family and why they were literally gunned down in their own home, right? So they kind of explore that as well too, and it kind of adds a strain into the relationship that Michelle has with Batchack Man, right? Because yeah, it's the usual, I have a secret identity, I don't want you to know, because if you do know and other people know, then your life could be in danger. It's that kind of stuff now. But adding the whole, but this is what happened before with the flashback that we saw in the previous episodes. Like, oh, okay. So I see. Like they had to kind of work together now to kind of, protect themselves. That's all I'll say, right? And where Michelle's arc ends as well too, I thought was really impressive. There's a great moment involving her and Diana. I thought that was really great as well, right? So yeah, it was not like heavy on action. I mean, we know it's the finale, so you're kind of expecting fireworks at this point, but it's more like, all right, now we know what's really happening, and this is us more or less getting ready for this big moment. And yeah, I was actually like impressed by that, man. And the post credits scene, which again I won't spoil. I was like, all right, yeah, I like this, I like this, I like this. It was admittedly spoiled in the credits, unfortunately. Like when I saw an image, I was like, okay, I know what they're gonna do, and then he actually did it, so it wasn't that surprising. But still, seeing where it leads to, I thought that was really cool, right? But in terms of like technical stuff, here or there, issues with like sound mixing. Like I always feel like sometimes the music could be a little bit overbearing. Like sometimes you could barely hear the vocals. Sometimes vocals might be on like on the left channel, and just this little technical stuff that I do hope that this next season actually fixes, right? Because yeah, those things will make or break someone's enjoyment factor of a show, right?
Right.
And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, just kind of thinking about just how this story progressed, though. I was like, all right, like I was like really like genuinely impressed, right? I'm not lying, I'm not BSing here. I was like genuinely impressed by just how this story like just flow and develop and whatnot, right? Again, issues with pacing and whatnot and technical issues here or there, but still, like for what Keon was going for, is like, yeah, this is like a really really ambitious, send up, or I should say update to what he did before with those previous Batchack Man films, right? So yeah, as a whole, just including the finale here, um, yeah, this was actually a solid season, man. I was like really surprised, man, and round of applause to Keon and his team for just being able to pull this off so well, man. I know that there are issues, I mean, like production issues, like not everything will come off perfect, but for what they were going for and what they managed to do, man, yeah, I mean, job well done, man. I really must say that. So, in closing, in terms of rating, I'm gonna give credit what credit is due, man. I'm gonna give this a strong 3.5 out of 5, man. I think that this is worth checking out. This is actually a solid entry in the whole Phil Ventures slash GT Network universe, if you will, man. It is certainly dark and it is like surprisingly surreal at some points. So like the surrealness is what really caught me off guard, because like you're just thinking, all right, it's dark, yes, but the surrealness might take somebody out of the show. But for me, this kind of it more or less kind of charmed me. It intrigued me even more as to what was going on there. But I was like, all right, oh, you brave enough to go there? Okay. Yeah, it does get fantastical. Like I honestly thought that things are gonna be just dark and gritty and real, similar to like how the last two films were. But like, nah, ever so often he will get a little fantastical. I would say in those moments they are kind of open to interpretation, but I like that aspect about the show, and it just kind of leaves the door open for more things to come, and yeah, I can't wait to see what we get next year. So I don't know if we will get a season 2, but I mean, how the show itself ends is like, yes, we should get one, but I do hope that we get one. You know what I mean? Because yeah, I'm just really like digging what Keon is doing right now. I'm just seeing that progression in terms of his writing and his direction, even his acting as well too, man. So yeah, round of applause to Keon and his team for actually pulling this off, right?
Yeah.
So that leads now to a little public service announcement, man. A little message from your boy here, right? So I initially wanted to do this for the Visa Claw finale, but because we have to wait a further week and a half for that finale, I might as well bring this out. I might as well see this now, right? So for y'all, just who have been checking out my reviews when it comes to these shows and whatnot, right? These Trinbagonian shows, right? I don't want to give the impression that I am just some sort of know-it-all who knows everything and know everything about film and nitpicky blah blah blah, right? Myself and Ricardo, we do have a history in film. The film is one of our driving forces. I mean, in terms of our creativity and whatnot, right? So in my case, right, even though I still kind of regret the fact that we don't have a film industry down here, right? I just gonna be real. I just gonna be straight up honest here. What these guys are doing here is exactly what we need to do in order to build something. And what I mean is, right, so I'm going to just show an example here, right? So let's take rap, for example. Let's take hip-hop, right? Let's take like a certain state, like say, I don't know, New York, right? At a point in time, somebody decided, here's what, I am going to make a song and I'm going to make an album, right? And I put that out. Somebody hears that and says, all right, that's real cool. I like that. But I want to do my own version of that. And that other person does that. And somebody hears that other version now and say, okay, I want to do this too. You know what I mean? And that is exactly how we had to start doing things here. Now, I'm not going to call any names. I'm not going to point any fingers and whatnot. But I know that there is this issue with, all right, what what is this Batchack Man thing? What is this Visa Claw thing? What is this Magnolia thing? This looks cheap. This looks terrible and whatnot, right? Whatever your view is on these shows, that's your view, right? I'm not gonna knock you down for that. You're entitled to your opinion. What I'm talking about really is just output in terms of these shows and films and whatnot, right?
Right.
That's what I'm looking at. That's really the whole point of it. That's really why I've invested time into talking about these shows here on this podcast here. That's really what it's about, right? Because I don't know, I could beat myself up for these for not having put out a film, right? I don't know if it's the same thing with you, Ricardo. I mean, we do have ideas and we do have stuff that we want to put out in the future, right?
Right.
But in the next 5 years, when we still trying to figure out what it was the best idea, I want to know that at least there are people out there that are putting out stuff, right? So that's why I'm just thrilled to see people doing this, right?
Right.
So
I mean, is it nature of the industry? Is how much planning you should or shouldn't do in it. I mean, in my case, I kind of doing a half planning kind of thing. I mean, in a sense, I mean, I put out a book, I have this, I have that, but the problem is who you're talking to and how much money you're willing to spend time on. Movies literally take 5 to 10 years to design on a big level. You keep saying, we could put it out quick. That's not how it does work, especially television. But it's a trade-off. Is what content coming out. So yeah, you're right in that sense. It better to exist than to be in somebody's mind.
That's
right.
There are
a bunch of great ideas that will just never get me simply because
we just have the finance.
Well, not that. It's just somebody as I said, there's a whole saying, the perfect is the enemy of the good.
Right. I got you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have that problem. Like I'll keep redoing blah 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 and how much projects I want to keep doing, and it'll just not come out. Like certain things I felt should have come out, or certain movies or books or whatever it is, I could have do with friends or whatever it is that should have come out, and just never came out. Simply because I wasn't happy with the project, or it wasn't that good of an idea. And I was like, in retrospect, the kind of bullshit that come out, we should have put it out. Like a simple example. I don't want to overtake your statement. I'll just say this and then done.
Yeah, you good.
So yeah, we could have jumped on the YA thing a long time ago. That whole YA thing that was really big, like around 10 years ago. I was thinking, yeah, but my story not that good because of what YA come out. And in retrospect, the amount of crap YA stuff that not only come out as books, but came out as movies. And like, yeah, I can write a story way better than that. Like my old stories I had with a friend, we just never put it out because it was not that great of an idea. Blah, blah, blah. It's your own self-confidence. You just sorry to say it, you had to be wrong and strong sometime.
Right.
That's the difference. It's just, it boils down to that. Sorry to say it, but we live in this kind of weird dichotomy world where those who tend to be overconfident and for lack of a better term, not only the more accomplished ends, tend to also not be that confident, unfortunately, right? Is the exact opposite. So, however, that's how you have to feel about this. You just have to think, you have confidence in yourself and put out your planning. No matter how crappy it look or whatever it is, it don't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I get your point. But yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Right. But it's so funny while I was talking to you, I now realize that we have had a similar conversation about this about our film output and content, right? When we talked about those Batchack Man films, right? From like way back when, right? But here, go on.
No, yeah. I mean, it's a common problem. The thing of Trinidad is that we could get into this back and forth all the time about people just don't want to work together, and the little you could get, and who get to make what and why, and it's just the back and forth. You had to ask a simple question: why we don't have a union of any kind of sort, right? We have a guilds kind of that you could pay into, but are those guilds they making anything or doing anything interesting? What they're doing? No, we don't know, right? I mean, even people who have a decent amount of accomplishment in this country, production-wise, they themselves are very, very, for lack of a better term, quite skeptical of the prospects of the world, right? And it's only people on the street like Keon who, he's like a hustler and he's do everything, and he's like, we know him I know him from before as a wrestler, and he does have a career all over the place, right? Yeah. Clearly you have no formal training or whatever it is in this stuff. You just look, he's a man, he have an idea, he pick up a camera, he have friends. That's it. And that's how all of it is in the root of it. I always think of Sam Raimi and them in the early days now. That's how this is.
And how he decided to make Evil Dead was just basically aware of how popular horror films were in the drive-in circuit, right? So it's like, I want to do something like that, but I want to do the best version of that, right? And a legendary franchise was born out of that, right?
Yeah.
So
And
as I bring up that, right? So here's where things get real interesting here, right? I want you all to hear this carefully, right? Now, someone could look at going back to the whole rap thing, right? Somebody could look at like what the first or second guy do and say, all right, I get what they're doing here, but that's whack. You know, that using
right.
ET's terms, right?
Well,
Yeah, that's
we're
whack.
gonna talk
That's
about that with the show coming up, eh?
yeah. That's whack. That's trash. I don't like this. I could do that better. So right, he puts out something else that is better, right?
Right.
And then the beauty about it though is if it's well received and whatnot. The first two people could look at what he do and say, all right, I see what you're doing here. Okay, I like that. It's different. It's progressive. You're changing and whatnot. Let me see if I could do something like that too.
Yeah.
And that's how
It's
evolves. That's how it grows. And
yeah.
most importantly, that's how you get an industry. You have to have so using Batchack Man here as example, right? Just to round things up, right? So you know, general you, right, might look at this and think, all right, this is trash. This makes no sense. Was a Batchack Man? I don't understand that. Blah 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 blah. Right, whatever, right? But you could say no. All right, I could make a superhero show better than that, right? And I have access to money, and I could do the effects better, whatever, right? And then you put out something better. Keon and whoever else who decide to put out shows could watch what it is that you do now and say, oh, okay, that's what that person doing. All right, now I can step things up now. Okay, so it's your story. All right, I can tell a better story in the next season. Acting was the issue. Okay, I can fix that. Technical issues, all right, I gotta fix that. And that's how we grow. That's how we get better at what it is we do. And that's what we need. We need a little bit more competition, all of this, right? So at the end of the day, you may like Batchack Man, you may like Feast of Claw or Magnolia, or you may not like them. But the point is, you keep kind of challenging yourself and, you know, just telling yourself, all right, not saying basically you want to bring down your competitor, but it's kind of like a friendly competition basically. Oh, okay, you doing this? Okay, I want to do this. I gotta set things up a little bit. And then both all grow and whatnot. And then, it becomes recognized. And like to this, like now, that is why today, let's use the whole rap analogy one more time now. That's why you have a New York rap scene, a rap industry. That's why it has a sound there that is specific to that state, to that region, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we need to do, you know?
Yeah, exactly. One of the big feelings of mental, one of the biggest feelings of mental thinking for a lot of people is that people have a tendency to look at probability from the result, right? And act as if it was some kind of workable certainty or anything like that. And it's like, no, you have to understand what it was at the time and that level of uncertainty it was at the time. You think Jam Master and them was they'd be big mega stars. Like
no.
it right. What it was is that they had a workable sense. Like again, you had to be. There's a kind of working delusion to this. I'll admit it, where you had to see yourself as a success, right? You put yourself out there. You see yourself as some success before the hand. But in terms of the actual probability of it, no, you can't predict the future. All kind of things could go wrong with your life. Blah blah blah. As I always think of the person, I always think of in terms of potential wasted because of health concerns was Dana Carvey. The comedian, right? He could have an amazing comedy career, and health concerns mess that up. But as I always think, just look, you had to have a sense of yourself going forward, right? You had to be wrong and strong, as I say, right? You're confident in the world. The universe want to make it happen. You manifest this, God doing it for you, whatever. But the point is that bigger forces coming for your conceit, and that's how I kind of see it with your own material. But you also had to make it.
Of course, that's right. That's the end.
And it boils down to that. It have a set of people. Again, I think there's a dichotomy with that mindset, and very few people could fuse the concept, right? You have people who are genuinely incredibly talented and are good writers and so on and so forth, and they just don't have the self-confidence to put themselves out there. There are a lot of people like that. You have the opposite end, which is, look, you have people who just pick up a camera and any friends just want to do some shit, but they're so self-confident and believe in themselves that they could just think any bullshit could get through and put themselves out there, right?
Yeah, and you see how long these things last. At least in their credit, they put something out, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. In the end of the day, they put something out, and that is the trade-off. Again, it's a debate. It's a debate as well as time with everything. Like, it's just whatever it is. The only difference is how much with show business, because show business is literally not life and death, It does not matter. These are fictitious things. You could do anything and get through. Have no workable sense of reputation or skin in the game or anything like that with this stuff. People just like to act. As I always think of who it is who wrote some great movie came out, and when you actually check the fellow career or credit, there's a sort of bullshit he was in. And it's only because of the opportunities he got. It's just he got a sort of shitty opportunity. The talent was always there. What's our man name, boy? It's slipping my mind. Sorry about that. But yeah, so it's a similar idea, right? It's just that working conceit of, yeah, you could just put yourself out there at the end of the day. It don't really make a difference or trying to fight down anything as it is. Just do your thing and make it out. That's why I don't really like knock wherever it is that is knock, because it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, you make something. As I say, it was the old joke. There's an old joke. The worst creator is even better than the best critic, right? Or if anybody remember the end of Ratatouille, right? That is like the best speech ever about criticism and creation, right?
Yes.
It's that. It's I still feel about it at the end of the day, regardless of our, as we all nitpicky about this Disney Plus show and that this and whatever it is. But the only reason you be hard on them is because they have the resources and the money and the time and the talent.
That's right.
They went 10 years and they had a PhD in film or whatever it is, right? It's because of that. That's the only reason that you put them on that hard pedestal. But no, they're still creators like you, none the same. So it's just that. Again, I don't really have this conversation with people anymore because I myself have become a lot more, let's just say, partial towards the creative mind, right? When I back in the past, I used to be nitpicking bullshit all the time, right? It's when you yourself have to do some stuff and put skin in the game, and you realize, all right, all this bullshit could go wrong, and you're really dealing with you're just seeing the tip of the iceberg now. Whatever. We always have this argument. It's our whole argument. We had this conversation before. I swear. So
we literally talked about this with the first couple of Batchack Man films, right? But reason be with all of this, right? And I'll close here, right? Just in my case, just seeing the progression between what I saw a few years back to now with this Peacemakers season. It's like, that is exactly what we have to do. Yes, competition is a part of it. Yeah, we have to kind of compete with each other, get better. But that's the thing, we have to get better. We have to, improve in terms of, just writing and, just direction, creation, all that stuff now. And then that is how the industry will come. Just us kind of challenging ourselves and not saying go and fight on our man and say, I gotta make a show better and you and blah, blah. And then you have some kind of like film beef or some kind of thing. I'm not seeing that. I'm just seeing, friendly competition. That's what it is, right? And that's where the quality of the content develops. And then we have something we could be proud of. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Like for me, when I make my comparison, to the best, like somebody who is really up there. Like I don't make any workable comparison to anybody locally or anything like that because there's a local person. It don't really matter. I make my own thing to the best. People who I consider the best, I think, I put myself my own ideas out there and it kind of work, but it kind of don't work. And it's how it is you feel about it one way or the other. And it's just, I think I could write stories better than this. And it's not because the movie wasn't that thing, is that they take the ideas or they didn't have the ideas. Is that, these people just put themselves out there back when, stuff used to evolve and audiences evolve and so on and so forth. Again, is the reality of the industry. Just have to be realistic about that and what ideas you think you could put out or whatnot. And why.
Of course. Like I'm not saying that anybody should just go out and make some kind of crap and just say, well, that's anyway, how we grow things. Talking, I mean, like I'm not saying that, right? But we talk enough about this, right? So again, take what take from what I said what you will. But essentially what I'm just saying in a nutshell is that we just need to kind of, have this friendly competition. We need to have that because that's how our films will grow and evolve, and that's how you'll actually have an industry. If you sit back in the sidelines now and look at that man doing stuff and say, all right, this is trash, but you have something in the pipeline, but you don't want to put it out because you fear how people will respond to it, then that's you just kind of shooting yourself in the foot, right?
Exactly. And you're not helping anybody if you have no, you have no intention to ever put it out or something like that. No.
That's right.
So again, you're not. You see, there are a lot of people who do add to the discourse. There are a lot of like that's a very unfortunately, your very sympathetic position of you being worried about what other people say could easily turn into something incredibly poisonous and toxic. And I've seen many people like that where they're talented, it's not to say they're not talented people, but because it's so I don't know. It's just something about the ego, and they really give a shit about what other people care or think or say about them. You know, they have that kind of weird meltdown about the whole thing, and it's shocking, right? And even I myself, you know, emotionally have that similar situation. Again, it's an entirely understandable and sympathetic position. But at a certain point, you had to let your ego go away, right? You had to kill it. You know, as I say, the perfect is the enemy of the good. Put it out. You know, people take your lumps when it's time to take your lumps, and then you move on. Life is go on. You ain't dead. It ain't go and kill you. You know,
exactly. And you could create more if you feel the need to just keep going at it, right? Because I mean, Keon could have taken his criticism and whatnot, thrown at him, and you know said, "Nah, he done," but nah, he kept at it, right? And look, he actually put out his first like TV series, his first web series. So I mean, look at that, right? So think about that for a sec, right? But yeah, folks, that's my public service announcement, turn words of encouragement, and you know, hopefully something that you know us creatives here in Trinidad and Tobago could really latch on to. At least I do hope so. But yeah, in the meantime, Batchack Man, the Peacemakers season 1 is done. It's a wrap, so you could find it at gtnetworktv.com. And you could also find, you know, the other shows that are part of the GT network, whether it be Magnolia or Visa Claw, which is wrapping up in a couple of weeks, and you know the upcoming shows like, you know, Superheroes and, you know, Night Row, which I do hope we get a show out. I do hope that we see soon enough. So show some support, show some love. If you don't like them, that's fine, but if you are in the world of film and you want to put something out, you think you could do better, then do better. And you know, these folks here will look at that and be like, all right, I like that. And you know, you just keep stepping yourself up, and then again, that's how the quality grows, and that's how we actually have industry. That's all I have to say, man. So that's it.